Edwin found himself engaged in a magical conversation with Count Hearted, a prominent figure from the formidable Kronos Empire. Edwin suggested to Count Hearted the idea of collaborating with Hector to traverse the southern gate of Cairo. Despite the apparent attractiveness of the proposition, Count Hearted hesitated to accept it immediately. He acknowledged the benefits of securing the southern front but expressed concerns about potentially provoking Cairo's wrath. Count Hearted tentatively agreed to the deal, contingent on the preservation of the rear positions over the next month. This condition left Edwin frustrated and incredulous, as he couldn't fathom Count Hearted's attempt to profit from the precarious situation. However, Hector had no other viable alternatives, and Edwin reluctantly accepted Count Hearted's terms. The gravity of the situation prompted Edwin to take swift action. He instructed Jackson, a key member of their alliance, to immediately contact Hector's family. Through the warp gate, Jackson was tasked with securing manpower and supplies to sustain Hector for the challenging month ahead. Jackson, understanding the urgency, affirmed his commitment to the mission. In Edwin's contemplation, he envisions Hector's warp gate, estimating the temporal linkage to span at least 3 days. With conviction, Edwin believes that Hector will endure until that juncture, nurturing the assurance that upon his return, he will bring with him a renewed sense of hope for Hector. The scene transitioned to the world outside. In a tent, Viscount Parchus, a commanding figure from the noble faction, held a meeting with Viscount Thales, the Kronos Empire Commander-in-Chief, and Baron Brahim, the Valhalla Empire Commander-in-Chief. Their anticipation centered around the arrival of Roman Dimitry. Viscount Parchus, contemplating the significance of this war with seemingly no real benefits, questioned the involvement of high-ranking individuals from the central government. He pondered whether securing Roman Dimitry's support held the key to the success of their endeavors. The uncertainty of their situation heightened as they awaited Roman's arrival. When Roman finally entered the scene, Viscount Parchus greeted him warmly, acknowledging him as Cairo's hero. Viscount Parchus recalls Marquis Benedict's candid admission that he harbors no concern for the unfolding events on the southern front. Benedict, in a straightforward manner, advises Parchus on the crucial steps he must take. Foremost among them is the imperative task of securing the favor of Roman Dimitry. Furthermore, the weight of responsibility for a potential defeat against Hector in Cairo's war is predicted to fall squarely on the shoulders of the royal family. And also, Benedict forewarns that if Roman is enticed away by rival aristocrats, the delicate equilibrium of power may teeter toward collapse. Viscount Parchus grappled with the unconventional nature of Roman's background. Despite being from a commoner family, Roman wielded considerable strength and influence, especially considering his youth in his mid-20s. Parchus perceived the potential in attracting such a talented individual to his cause, envisioning a scenario where Marquis Benedict, whom he served, would reward him with a more significant position. As the scene shifted, Viscount Parchus guided Roman to his seat, introducing himself and highlighting his allegiance to Marquis Benedict. He relayed the Marquis's personal connection of Roman to the southern training camp, a gesture that showcased Marquis Benedict's consideration for Roman's well-being. Moreover, Marquis Benedict requested Parchus to express his apologies for the unforeseen circumstances that had unfolded. Roman, unfazed by the unexpected turn of events, reassured Viscount Parchus that all was well, understanding the complexities of the situation. Parchus, in turn, sought Roman's time for a special gift, hinting at the potential rewards for aligning with his cause. However, before the exchange could progress, Viscount Thales interjected, informing Roman of Count Gregory's anticipation of a call with valuable information. Baron Brahim chimed in, indicating that Count Denver had dispatched men from his family to aid Roman on the battlefield. The intentions of the commanders became the subject of Roman's inquiry. Viscount Thales, expressing surprise at Roman's astuteness, found himself confronted by Roman's insight. Roman acknowledged the shared interest in his prowess but redirected the conversation to the pressing issue at hand. In the midst of their deliberations, the enemy had boldly planted a flag on Cairo territory, a defiant act that demanded immediate attention. Roman, with a profound sense of purpose, deemed it inappropriate to discuss his future ambitions in the midst of this threat. He unveiled his post-victory aspirations, envisioning himself as Cairo's greatest swordsman and challenging the established rankings. Until that victorious moment, Roman urged the commanders to focus on the imminent situation, pledging to prove himself and offering his sword to only one deserving leader. Roman's proposal resonated, diffusing the tension in the air and paving the way for a more formal meeting. The imminent clash between Hector and Cairo stood poised to bring down the castle. The decision-making process was fraught with uncertainty, and no definitive solution emerged. Hector, utilizing the Warp Gates link, granted Cairo a 3-day window before they had to confront the impending attack. Viscount Parchus engaged Roman in a conversation, proposing a direct confrontation with Hector's forces, estimated to be around 10,000 strong. The notion was that Cairo, with its amassed troops, could potentially gain the upper hand in a head-to-head match. Roman, however, injected a dose of reality into the discussion. While acknowledging that Cairo could tip the balance with sheer numbers, he emphasized the formidable presence of Hector's mages. This magical component, Roman argued, prevented Cairo from claiming overwhelming power. Despite the challenges posed by Hector's magical forces, Roman hinted that there might be a way out of the predicament. The narrative then shifted to Hector's base, where the soldiers sounded the alarm as the enemy approached. The main army of Cairo, led by Roman and other viscounts, advanced towards Hector's forces. In a dramatic moment, Roman, with sword raised high, addressed Hector, proposing a head-to-head battle between their kingdoms. The unexpected proposal left Edwin, an observer in this unfolding drama, bewildered about Roman's intentions. Roman's plea for a ceasefire stemmed from a desire to avoid further senseless sacrifices on both sides. He believed that Edwin, too, wished to spare lives. Roman suggested a straightforward resolution. If Hector emerged victorious, Cairo would accept his terms. However, if Roman triumphed, Hector must withdraw from Cairo. Edwin, grappling with shock and uncertainty, questioned Roman's motivations. Given Roman's perceived inferior skills against Butler, Edwin wondered if this bold move was a trap. Roman clarified that should Hector reject the proposal, he would take drastic action by destroying the rear camp. To add urgency to the decision-making process, Roman granted Hector a mere 10 minutes to decide. The gravity of the situation was not lost on Edwin, who recognized the complexity and lack of easy solutions. As the tension escalated, a surprising turn of events unfolded. Butler, Hector's formidable warrior, agreed to engage in a duel with Roman. Edwin, uncomfortable with this decision, felt compelled to voice his disapproval, sensing the potential risks involved. Butler reassures Edwin, urging him to trust that Butler will defeat Roman Dimitry and return to find a way for the Hector kingdom to endure. Edwin, however, expresses his trust in Butler but raises concerns about Hector losing 700 soldiers under Roman's influence throughout the night. Edwin believes in Butler, yet he suspects that Roman Dimitry might have hidden intentions. In response, Butler expresses confidence, assuring Edwin that Butler will dismantle any plans Roman devises. Having lived alongside Hector's king throughout his life, Butler rejects the notion that he is a coward who shies away from potential traps. Edwin, still cautious, implores Butler to promise one thing. If Butler notices any unusual signs, he must ensure his escape. Butler agrees, leaves with the promise of returning with victory, and contemplates the uniqueness of Roman. Butler acknowledges encountering many eccentric individuals in his life, but Roman stands out. Uncertain about the traps Roman may have set, Butler commits to doing his best. As they face each other, Roman reveals that since the moment he struck Butler with a sword on the mountain, he desired a full-fledged match with Butler until the end. Roman assures Butler that there is no trap and invites him to showcase his skills. Roman encourages Butler to give his best effort, explaining that if Butler kills him here, Butler can attain his desires. Butler, angered by Roman's seemingly maniacal approach, gears up for the battle. The two adversaries charge at each other with full force, initiating a fierce confrontation. As the battle between Butler and Roman unfolded, the significance of reaching the 5-star level loomed large. Achieving this status transformed an individual into a formidable force within the continent, capable of reshaping the outcome of a battlefield. Butler, sensing the weight of the kingdom of Hector hanging in the balance, unleashed his explosive aura, a manifestation of the pivotal stakes at play. From the onset, Butler harbored no intention of prolonging the confrontation. His objective was clear: to conclude the battle decisively in one fell swoop. With resolute determination, Butler launched a full-force strike at Roman, driven by the urgency of the kingdom's fate. To the surprise of onlookers, Roman, displaying remarkable skill and agility, managed to block Butler's formidable attack. However, the repercussions of their clash became evident as the ground beneath Roman began to fracture, a spectacle that sent shockwaves through the spectators, Edwin, Hector's soldiers, and the Cairo commanders. Undeterred by the unexpected turn of events, Butler pressed on with his relentless assault. Roman, demonstrating exceptional defensive prowess, dodged Butler's subsequent attack and retaliated in kind. Yet, Butler's mastery revealed itself as he seamlessly maneuvered behind Roman, delivering a forceful swing of his aura-infused sword. Roman, displaying considerable skill, successfully parried Butler's strike. However, the aftermath of the clash left an intense aura slash extending into the ground behind him, adding an additional layer of awe and concern among the onlookers. Amidst the unfolding battle, Viscount Parchus found himself wrestling with worry. He had inadvertently agreed to this fight, driven by his desire to stand by Roman. Now, the potential consequences of Roman's defeat threatened to undermine Parchus's efforts to recruit him. The weight of this realization settled heavily on his shoulders. Viscount Thale shared Parchus's unease, pondering the possibility of Roman's defeat. As the Hector soldiers observed Butler's prowess, a swell of cheers erupted in support of the formidable warrior. The tide of battle seemed to shift as Roman found himself on the defensive, earnestly blocking Butler's relentless onslaught. However, Roman, not one to be easily subdued, transitioned from defense to offense, launching a counterattack against Butler. As the clash of their blades echoed on the battlefield, Hector's soldiers rallied behind Butler, their cheers amplifying the intensity of the moment. In the midst of the battle, Butler recognized a shift in Roman's tactics. Roman's interception of Butler's strikes became swifter, indicating a heightened level of anticipation and strategic insight. Rather than merely deflecting Butler's sword paths, Roman appeared to be reading them with increasing accuracy. This realization stirred frustration within Butler, who couldn't help but wonder if Roman was testing his abilities. Meanwhile, in Roman's contemplation, a profound revelation emerged. Despite his past victory over a 4-star swordsman like Homerus, Roman acknowledged the absence of a face-off with a 5-star opponent. The ongoing battle with Butler, a seasoned and powerful warrior, became Roman's test to determine his standing in this new world. As the intense duel between Roman and Butler unfolded, the dynamics of power and strategy took center stage. Roman, determined to ascend to the next level, decided to demolish the barrier in front of him. Charging at Butler with unwavering resolve, he aimed to assert his prowess in a clash that held profound implications for the fate of the kingdom. Butler, however, grew increasingly irritated as he confronted Roman's relentless assault. Utilizing his aura-infused sword, Butler retaliated simultaneously. Roman, with a keen analytical mind, observed the aftermath of the aura explosion. He recognized the inherent randomness in the impact of energy, a consequence of swordsmen with auras lacking precise control over mana. Their auras erupted like explosions, leading to an uneven distribution of strength along the blade. Roman seized upon this vulnerability, understanding that not all parts of the sword were equal in power. If, for instance, the blade possessed 120% of the aura, both sides could only wield 80% of its strength. With this strategic insight, Roman crafted his plan. He resolved to read the flow of Butler's mana and target the weak point in the aura structure. Executing 2 consecutive strikes, Roman's attacks were met with Butler's expert defense. Yet, amidst the clash, Roman discerned the weak point in Butler's defense. The next move would be crucial, and Roman unleashed the Heavenly Demon Sword skill, the 3rd movement. The surprise attack caught Butler off guard, breaking through his defenses. The impact was palpable as Butler, a formidable 5-star swordsman, found himself pushed back. The battlefield, witnessing this unexpected turn, was thrown into a state of shock. Both sides, allies and adversaries alike, struggled to comprehend the reality unfolding before them. A 3-star swordsman, Roman, was not only holding his own against a 5-star swordsman like Butler, but was also gaining ground in the duel. Edwin, observing the spectacle, was shocked and conflicted. He recognized the stakes involved, understanding that if Roman emerged victorious, Hector would not only lose their strongest combatant but also be forced to withdraw from the rear camp. The potential fallout for Hector loomed large, and Edwin could only place his trust in Butler, hoping that there was more to Butler's abilities yet to be revealed. Returning to the duel, Butler found himself grappling with the unexpected reality of Roman's tenacity. Initially suspecting that Roman was merely using the fight as a pretext for setting traps, Butler now understood the genuine nature of Roman's intent to defeat him. This revelation shook Butler to the core, as the seemingly flawless plan crafted by Hector began to crumble under the unexpected strength and unorthodox tactics of Roman. Butler, acutely aware of the potential repercussions, deemed it imperative to prevent Roman from leaving the southern front alive. Butler foresaw a future where Hector's kingdom might be forced to confront a formidable adversary that they could not withstand if Roman were allowed to roam freely. In light of this ominous vision, Butler resolved to take decisive action and decided that Roman must be eliminated on the spot. Bracing for an intense battle, Butler geared up to face Roman with every ounce of strength he possessed. His aura, tinged with a vibrant yellow, signaled his readiness as he prepared to charge at Roman. A luminous ball of yellow aura materialized above Butler's head, a visual manifestation of the impending clash. Historically, only two individuals had successfully thwarted Butler's strikes, one being the strongest duelist within the kingdom of Hector, and the other holding a distinguished position on the continent's list of formidable fighters. With a lethal gleam in his eyes, Butler unleashed a technique known as the sunstroke, directing the formidable attack towards Roman. Caught off guard by the brightness and intensity of Butler's assault, Roman swiftly shifted his focus to defense. Anticipating that this could be Butler's most potent strike, Roman summoned the strongest shield in his arsenal, the Heavenly Demon Baek Joong-Hyuk's iron shield. A dark aura enveloped Roman as Butler's sunstroke collided with the formidable defense of the iron shield. The clash between Butler's striking force and Roman's impenetrable shield became the focal point, determining who among them held the upper hand in strength. The collision resulted in a colossal explosion, shrouding the duel ground in a cloud of chaos. The battlefield unfolded with unexpected twists as Edwin, the commander on the southern front, watched in stunned amazement. Roman Dimitry had successfully blocked Butler's formidable attack. Butler, a seasoned 5-star swordsman, hadn't anticipated anyone, let alone a swordsman of lower rank, being able to thwart his strike. Fatigue had visibly taken its toll on Butler, who had exhausted all his mana in the preceding assault. Sensing an opportunity, Roman charged forward, determined to exploit Butler's momentary weakness. Despite his weariness, Butler resolved not to give in and summoned the strength to block Roman's oncoming attack. However, much to everyone's astonishment, Butler's defense proved insufficient, and he found himself being pushed back by Roman's relentless assault. This unprecedented sight shocked even Butler, a warrior well acquainted with the rigors of battlefield clashes. The idea that a young combatant in his 20s could overpower a seasoned swordsman like himself defied all expectations. Nevertheless, Butler, driven by unwavering determination, counterattacked, refusing to surrender even if it meant pushing himself to the brink of death. To Butler's astonishment, Roman unexpectedly placed his hand on Butler's head and forcefully drove Butler into the ground. With resolve etched on his face, Butler channeled his remaining mana, creating an explosive burst intended to take Roman down with him. Despite the ferocity of Butler's desperate maneuver, Roman remarkably withstood the force of the explosion. His resilience and unyielding spirit became evident as he declared his intention to remember Butler's unwavering resolve. However, just as the duel seemed poised for its conclusion, Edwin, the Southern Front commander, intervened. Edwin, employing his rune flare magic, directed a powerful attack towards Roman. In a swift and agile move, Roman dodged Edwin's assault, showcasing not only his combat skills but also his strategic acumen. With the situation escalating, Edwin issued a command to his soldiers. As the soldiers rushed to rescue their fallen captain, Hector, the kingdom Butler served, faced a critical decision. In choosing to prioritize Butler's well-being over adhering to the established rules of the duel, Hector left the fortress gate wide open. The ramifications of this decision were profound, potentially shaping how the world viewed Hector and influencing the dynamics of the ongoing conflict. Following that, the narrative transitions to the meeting in Cairo camp, where Viscount Parchus queries Roman about the hypothetical scenario of a miraculous triumph and victory against Butler. Parchus inquires into Cairo's course of action should such an outcome transpire. Roman, drawing on his observations after the mountain duel with Hector, revealed a strategic insight. He highlighted Edwin Hector's tender-hearted nature, emphasizing the poignant act of Hector's soldiers collecting and honoring their fallen comrades after a night of fierce clashes. Roman, perceptive and shrewd, saw an opportunity in leveraging the compassion within Hector's leadership. Roman asserted that Butler would serve as the catalyst leading to Edwin Hector's eventual failure in judgment. The intricacies of Roman's strategy hinged on the dual nature of his intentions, bringing down Butler without delivering a fatal blow, thus fulfilling the requirements of the first plan. Roman's tactical finesse involved rendering Butler incapable of further combat, strategically dismantling a key asset for the opposing forces. Returning to the heat of battle, Roman deftly executed his plans. His focus shifted to thwarting the efforts of soldiers attempting to rescue the incapacitated Butler. As the chaos ensued, Roman couldn't help but share his candid thoughts on Edwin Hector's leadership. While acknowledging Edwin's qualities as a ruler, Roman asserted that the battlefield was no place for someone of Edwin's caliber. This sentiment underscored the harsh realities of war and the demands it placed on those thrust into its midst. A few soldiers managed to breach Roman's offensive and reach Butler. Viscount Parchus, observing the events unfold, found himself in awe as everything unfolded exactly as Roman had predicted. The precision with which Roman's plans materialized led Parchus to contemplate Roman's significance as a strategic asset. The realization dawned upon Parchus that Roman, with his uncanny foresight, was indeed the greatest talent that Cairo had produced. In the grander scheme of political maneuvering, Parchus now understood the strategic value of recruiting Roman, as emphasized by Marquis Benedict. Roman's potential extended beyond the immediate battlefield, offering a potential advantage in the broader geopolitical landscape. Parchus, astounded by the unfolding events, gave orders for his soldiers to advance and implement the ambush, fully embracing the strategic advantage Roman's plans afforded them. As the ambush played out, Edwin Hector grappled with the consequences of his decisions. Frustration and self-deprecation colored his reflections as he admitted his own perceived inadequacies. Edwin recognized the pivotal moment when Butler fell as the turning point that seemingly stripped him of his ability to make sound decisions. The weight of command, rationality, and the harsh reality of warfare converged within Edwin's internal struggle. Despite the internal turmoil, Edwin remained resolute. He recognized that the situation was not irreparable, and there remained a potential avenue for victory. The key, as he contemplated, lay in Hector's ability to save Butler and close the fortress gates. It was a precarious hope, but Edwin clung to the belief that such a strategic move could tip the scales in their favor. In a bid to seize control of the narrative once more, Edwin unleashed his runeflare magic, launching an attack on the Cairo forces. Simultaneously, Hector's mages added their arcane prowess to the assault. This unexpected collaboration between magical forces surprised Parchus, prompting quick thinking and adaptive orders to his soldiers. The need to capitalize on the fleeting opportunity presented by the open fortress gates. If the fortress gate were to close, more lives among the Cairo soldiers would be lost. Witnessing the urgent need to act, a frustrated Hector knight named Kellen recognized the necessity of swiftly shutting the fortress gate. In response, a soldier informed Kellen that Captain Butler was approaching, prompting Kellen to emphasize the importance of closing the gate promptly. Kellen directed the soldier to ensure that once the gate closed, Hector's mages should activate the defense spell without delay. Sensing an opportunity, Roman seized the moment and charged towards the gate, aiming to enter before it closed. The soldiers under Hector were shocked by Roman's advance and desperately tried to prevent him from entering. Undeterred, Roman employed his second form of the Heavenly Demon technique, effectively breaking the gate completely. In the aftermath of this decisive move, Roman shouted triumphantly, declaring that the gate was now wide open. Seizing the advantage, Roman swiftly commanded the Cairo army to charge forward without hesitation.